Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Well, today is an incredibly special day, and with us, with some, major news, is Stuart Reckner from Strategic Energy. And Strategic Energy, despite its name, is actually a gold copper explorer with assets in Australia, mostly up in Queensland and down in South Australia as well. But let's be honest, it's been a micro-cap company that's been sleepy for the last 3 years. But everybody, that is all about to change starting today and probably over the next year or so. It's really a company that Stuart's going to describe that's ready for action. But rather than hear from me, why don't we hear it from the horse's mouth himself? Stuart, welcome to 18 Minutes with 180 Markets.
Thank you, Greg. Pleasure to be here.
Great. Stuart, business is about people. It's about projects too, but it's also about people first. And why don't we start out with a little bit about your story? Just how did you get to where you are today?
Sure, Greg. I'm a third generation mineral explorer. So my grandfather worked underground in the gold mines of Kalgoorlie, and my father was a geophysicist, geologist who made a number of significant discoveries. So you can imagine what it's like at the family dinner conversations around my house. When are you going to make your next discovery, Stuart? And until most recently, I was the competent person for a junior gold explorer that recently delineated more than 3 million ounces of gold and is now heading towards a feasibility study. If I had to describe my specialty, it's copper gold exploration undercover. So looking for copper and gold mineralization under younger sediments. And my motivation is to discover a mine.
Fantastic, fantastic. And can you just tell us a little bit about how did you get to Strategic Energy and where the business, has been at for the last number of years?
So SER was founded by my father, and has the role of leading the company has come to me. And over the last 18 months or so, we've essentially been quietly assembling the best copper gold exploration ground in Australia. And we're very happy with the portfolio we've put together. And now it's time to get out there and start drilling.
Absolutely. And that's why, from your point of view, is that why the news flow has been kind of quiet in the sense of you've just been trying to assemble the pieces of the puzzle before you go into it, so to speak?
Absolutely. Almost all of our projects we acquired by application. So at very little expense, we watched key areas around the country that we knew were highly prospective, waited for them to become available, entered competitive tenders and won that ground, and very happy with the portfolio we've put together. And it's taken time to get there, but we're ready to go.
Fantastic. And just drilling in, but no pun intended, into the portfolio a little bit. I'd say that your flagship prospect is Sacspeed. Maybe can you touch on that one a little bit first?
So Sacspeed is a project that we've been watching for a very long time. It was originally a serendipitous discovery by Anglo-American in that they were drilling for nickel, targeting EM conductors, and they put the discovery hole down, and at the end of the hole was a large, thick intersection of high-grade gold. Not what they were expecting, but a very fortuitous event nonetheless.
Sure.
They immediately farmed it out to a gold company, Anglo Gold Ashanti, who came along and put down a series of other holes to further test that target, including another extremely high-grade, thick intersection. Now, it's very easy to judge other explorers in hindsight. I am of the view that they unfortunately drilled on an incorrect orientation, but I've done it a million times myself, and the only reason we're able to be where we are now is because of the explorers that came before us. But that's been very fortuitous to SER in that after Anglo Gold Ashanti didn't find the amount of gold they were looking for. The project fell to a junior company. The junior company then pivoted to high-tech industry, and the project became available. We snatched it up.
Fantastic, fantastic. And just obviously, it's incredibly early days, but from a size point of view, in layman's terms, how would you describe the potential, if you will?
Well, the first hole at Sacspeed hit 9 meters at 11 grams per ton gold. So that's extremely high grade, and that's a good thick intersection. The subsequent hole hit 8 meters at 15 grams per ton, another spectacular grade, good, thick, mineable width. And most recently, SER, we came in December last year and put a hole down right in the middle of those two big hits, which were 200 meters apart. We put a hole straight in the middle and hit 6 meters at 12 grams, another spectacular hit. So we've got, in my view, 200 meters of strike length of thick, high-grade gold. Let's see how much further it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to your other projects, if you were, Mill Creek down in South Australia, can you talk about that a little bit as well for the audience?
Yes. So Mill Creek is within the Olympic copper gold belt, one of the world's most prolific copper gold belts, and hosts to several giant and supergiant deposits. We have long explored in that area and believe that area to have many remaining undiscovered copper gold deposits. So we secured that ground, and in the meantime, after we had secured the ground, a large Australian company, Fortescue Metals, a $40 billion company who is primarily focused on iron ore, but is looking at copper now, pegged the ground all around us completely, and then approached us and said, let's do a deal. So we did a deal, and Fortescue are now earning in, and they have to put a lot of drill holes down to earn their interest, and we're free carried. So hopefully they'll be completing their drill program later this year, and that'll be great news flow for the company.
So you have a free carry with a world-class performer, essentially.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then, tell us about your other, what I call, upside projects as well. I know you have a few other, tires kicking around.
So we've got another project, Billicolina, in the same copper gold belt. And the thing about the Olympic copper gold belt is, after the discovery of Olympic Dam back in the 70s, everyone knew that gravity and magnetic anomalies were the key to targeting these deposits. And those anomalies were well known and remain well known to this day. One of those key anomalies was drilled in 1970s by Newmont, and they put the hole down and it didn't reach basement and test that anomaly. So we've subsequently, in competitive tender, won that ground, and we want to come exactly back to where Newmont were in the 70s, put a hole down an extra couple of 100 meters, and test that anomaly and see if we have another deposit there. It's what used to be deep in the time of the 1970s is now well and truly mineable depth.
Well, that's what I was going to say also is, are you finding a lot of projects that, 25, 30 years ago were in a certain state, but technology has moved so much in the industry that a lot of things that were undoable are now, highly achievable?
Absolutely. I know it's the kind of conversation you can imagine I have with my family all the time of, what's the deepest hole you ever drilled, Dad?
Yeah. It's like
that's nothing. We do that all the time now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yes,
I can understand.
and that's a bit of a trend globally in the industry. The easy deposits on the surface have all been found. We must now explore undercover. We must use all the different disciplines, geophysics, geochemistry, geology, all working together.
Right. So it sounds like, there are a lot of, let's just call it, interesting paths that the business can go at this point forward. You've really spent the last number of years assembling them, as you said. They all have, if any one of them strikes, it could just be, revolutionary for the company. And now's the time to take advantage. And with that, from the balance sheet point of view, because it's all well and good to have the projects, but you have to have the money to drill. We've got some very big news today that 180 is a part of as well. And maybe why don't you just talk a little bit about the capital raising that's going to take place today and how that's going to help the business going forward.
Sure, Greg. So as you said, we have assembled the projects. We've got the permits. We're ready to go drilling. Drilling costs money, and we're delighted to partner with 180 Markets to raise funds to get out there and start drilling. And we're seeking today to raise $800,000, which will give us the money to put multiple holes down at Sacspeed to test that Billicolina target with a single deep hole and see if we can find what Newmont couldn't, and additional funds for working capital to advance our joint venture with Fortescue.
Right, and also may I add that within the 800,000, about half of it approximately is going to be taken up by 180 and insiders already. Isn't that accurate?
That's correct, yes.
Right, so you have strong support. But, the way that we see it, and is everything is in place, using your words, you just need to drill it out at this point.
That's right. And on your previous comment about our shareholders, I will just add quickly, Greg, most of our major shareholders are retired geologists, geophysicists, guys who had a very successful time during the earlier mining booms. And so, of course, they give me a lot of advice on where to put the hole and
maybe
things
too much.
like that. But, I mean, these guys are here to find a mine.
Right.
That's the goal. So they are very loyal and enduring shareholders, and I thank them for their support.
Yeah, and also, obviously, nobody knows the business better than you all, for sure.
Thank you.
And then, from a, once we get the capital, we've got the potential prospects. As we said before, the news flow has been incredibly sleepy for the last, let's call it 3 years. What should we expect over the next 12 months? In your mind, what would be some big news flow that we should be looking out for?
Well, next quarter, we intend to have a drill rig on the ground at Sacspeed drilling, and it will be drilling multiple holes, and results will flow as and when the drill core comes out and we send it off for assay. And that drill program will probably go for a couple of months,
right,
with a steady flow of results coming out. So that will be our initial highest priority program. And then Billicolina, a single deep hole there. We'd like to get that done in the final quarter of the year. And hopefully around that time, subject to our joint venture partner, we'll also see Fortescue putting some drill holes down. Obviously, that's out of our control. They're the operating partner. But earlier this year, they completed a very detailed airborne magnetic survey. They're certainly keen to explore, and we look forward to them drilling there.
Yeah, so basically, when we think about that, over the next, kind of started from calendar probably Q4 all the way through the next 12 months, we're really going to have some interesting news flow.
That's correct.
Willing everything, cooperates. So the way that I see, I guess, in conclusion, is it's hard to say necessarily which is the best project, or do you have a favorite at this point in time?
Sacspeed is without doubt our highest priority at present. With all the difficulties in the world at the moment, the gold price is very strong, and many tip it to only become stronger. Yeah. Sacspeed is a very high grade gold deposit, and so that's where will be our highest focus in the immediate term.
Right, and would it eventually, if everything worked out, would it be open pit underground?
Sacspeed's at depth, so it's no question it'll be an underground mine.
Okay.
But with those kind of grades of 10 grams per ton and higher, that without question is suitable for underground mining.
Right. Fantastic. So, I mean, to us, again, it seems like you really have everything in order at this point. And the thing that we like is that, in a way, it has been underappreciated, I guess, the hard work, if you will. Um, but now we're going to get it all to fruition.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. And yes, look, exploration is not an easy game. It requires perseverance. You've got to be comfortable with failure. However, we have put together a spectacular selection of copper gold projects, and we'd love shareholders and investors to join us as we explore them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we said, like, if we just get one of them to go, it will certainly be a bonanza. And now you'll have the capital stacked in place that'll allow you, or allow all of us, I should say, to get to the dream. And we appreciate being on the journey with you. And I'll just conclude with this. I started out at the beginning with it, your background, your third generation. Obviously, it's in your blood. You have a massive incentive besides just the dinner table to achieve your success. So when you marry up, I guess interesting prospects with the right people, that's generally the formula for success. So Stuart, thank you very much. And we look forward to hearing from you, as I said, over the next coming months. It's been a while, but now it's all coming to fruition. Stuart, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.